Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to St. Cloud State University and today's press conference. I'm Ann Abick, the Director of Athletic Media Relations here at St. Cloud State University. Real quickly, people with electronic devices or phones, if you would maybe put them on the quiet or silence, we'd appreciate that. Thank you. Yesterday, St. Cloud State was extended an invitation to join the National Collegiate Hockey Conference. Today, St. Cloud State President Dr. Earl Potter will announce the university's decision. Our speakers today are Dr. Earl Potter, the University of North Dakota Athletic Director Brian Faison, and St. Cloud State hockey coach Bob Motzko. Each of them will give a brief statement, and then we will open up to questions. Dr. Potter?
Thank you very much, Ann, and welcome to all of you. Appreciate your joining with us to share this decision, important decision for this university. I have decided and have communicated to the league that we will join the National Hockey Conference, the National in short. We have also communicated, I have directly with Bruce McLeod, Commissioner of the WCHA, that we are withdrawing from membership in the WCHA as of the end of the 2013 season. Bruce appreciated the reasons we made the decision, said he expected it, and I want to share a couple thoughts with you all about the work we've done to come to this decision. Clearly in our community, the news that the WCHA was going through a major transition, that two teams were leaving for the Big Ten and 5 teams were leaving to begin the development of the National Collegiate Hockey Conference, was a shock. That's not an overstatement to say we were surprised as a community by that news. In fact, the university had been aware of conversations ongoing for some time. At the point where that decision was announced, it was not clear to us whether we would be invited to join a new league, and whether if we were to be invited, it would be the best thing for us. In the 3 months that have passed since that news was made public, we've engaged in serious study of the options of remaining with the WCHA or joining our colleagues in the National Collegiate Hockey Conference. We've evaluated the experience for our fans, the impact on our student athletes, the significance economically and culturally for Central Minnesota of our choice, and the great experience we've had for 22 years as a member of the WCHA. It was not an easy decision to choose to leave the WCHA and join the new conference, but in the end, after serious study, it was the only decision that seemed right for us. And we're delighted to be able to announce that we will be joining the National Collegiate Hockey Conference. But that conference is committed to winning programs, a high level of play, to a university strategy that recognizes hockey as a premier sport in the institution, and to the success of our student athletes. You know, Division II, where most of our athletic programs are, has made a very strong commitment to the student part of that student athlete whole person. And we're delighted. Not all of Division I holds up the student role as high as the WCHA did and as high as the National is going to. We feel that we're in very good company. We're delighted to be able to maintain our league relationship with North Dakota. We have a friendly competition with North Dakota. At least off the ice we do. And we are very much looking forward to the continuation of that relationship. I've talked yesterday to my alum athletic advisory board. One of the members of that board is in Colorado, Ramon Nunez, and Ramon, former football player at St. Cloud State, expressed the great excitement of the folks in Colorado, alums in Colorado, that we will be continuing to come to Denver and Colorado Springs to play. We believe it's the right place for us because we are committed to a winning program. We're committed to the success of our student athletes. And I want to thank the National for its invitation. We're excited about the next steps. And now,
Brian Faison is the University of North Dakota Director of Athletics. He is also representing the National Collegiate Hockey Conference today. Brian?
Thank you, President Potter. Coach, we're very pleased on behalf of the 6 athletic directors that represent the founding members to have heard your affirmative response. I was a little concerned that I hadn't heard that right, about whether you accept it or not. But we're very excited and honored, frankly, to have St. Cloud as a partner. And it's great for us, selfishly, at North Dakota to continue what has been a great rivalry. Maybe not so friendly on the ice, but that's okay. But off the ice, great relationships administratively and very supportive of each other. And so we're pleased to have that. This was, as the President mentioned from his standpoint for the institution, this was also a very involved process for us, very complicated, and it needed to be. We wanted to assure that as we have through this entire process that we have institutions that are genuinely committed to hockey to competing at the highest levels, and clearly that's the case with the commitments that have been made and continue to be made here at St. Cloud. So we're excited about moving forward with St. Cloud as a member and looking forward to the competition in 2013-14, and we do have some work to do in the meantime to get a commissioner and a few other things, but we're excited about having you with us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Our final speaker is Bob Motzko. He is the head hockey coach at St. Cloud State University.
Well, first, thanks, Brian, for making the trip down and having a friendly visit with us, and we sure do appreciate all the support that we did get from our friends at North Dakota. Just a little history lesson. 22 years ago that we had a small group of people here, and I'm going back on history that I've learned because I sure wasn't here at that time, with Herb Brooks and Bill Radovich and President McDonald and Morris was just coming on board, and they had a dream, they had a goal of taking a Division III program and going Division I, and we were supported at that time by the WCHA to make that move, and in 22 years, we're still a young program. But I think if we take a look back, historically speaking, if you would ask those gentlemen if we were ever able to do that, 2 of them are no longer with us, we've been wildly successful in 22 years of what we're trying to do. And we were afforded that opportunity by great friends in the WCHA. And, with some of the craziness that's happened in college sports, here we are in today's time, and the National League comes about, and we're in a position now to continue to grow our program, and we're very fortunate that we're going to be able to continue those relationships with North Dakota and Denver, Colorado College, Duluth, Nebraska, Omaha, and then form with two new friends and 2 new competitors in Miami University and Western Michigan. And personally, I worked at Miami for 6 years, met my wife at Miami, so it's an exciting, I've got a personal stake in what I left behind there at Miami and proud to be with them. But this is, we got 2 years left in the WCHA, and there is a little pain when you leave a league. And I think I have to mention that. I wasn't here, and I did ask this to Morris. Michigan Tech, one of the founding members, I'm sure was there for us 22 years ago. And then we helped usher in a few schools behind us with Mankato and Bemidji and Anchorage. And, as St. Cloud State moves forward, we're going to do everything in our power to continue to support this great state and the programs that are in it, and by putting Duluth and Mankato on our schedule as much as we can and play that tournament down in the Twin Cities. But moving forward, as this thing goes, I can tell you that the pulse of the hockey pulse is excited. We are moving in the right direction. We still are young as a program, and great success will come with this program in time. And I still think there's a secret here, and we were talking about it this morning. Is there some great things happening on our campus right now? You know, you think of what just completed in the last year and what's going to happen. We got over $100 million worth of real estate that is growing. We're sitting in a building right now that came from it. And we got the National Hockey Center coming and the new iSelf building. There's a pulse that if you're inside, we feel it coming. And we know that our university is on the verge of going in great places right now. And I think this move for us is going to be, it's going to be able to give us that opportunity to tell our story around the United States of what we have here. So we're very excited about it. Thanks again to the National Conference for this invitation, and we look forward to the challenges that come with it.
Thank you, Bob. We'll open it up now to questions from the media. I'll ask that you identify yourself first, ask the question, and then I'll have the gentleman come to the microphone.
Mick Hatton from the St. Cloud Times. Dr. Potter, could you just kind of go through a little bit of the process that's happened over the last few months to get you to this point, from finding out that the National was formed until now? I mean, what all has kind of taken place maybe behind the scenes that people haven't known about?
I'm going to repeat the question just for our streaming. Has to do with the process over the last 3 months and what has happened in regard to the National.
Well, thank you, Mick, for that question. It was obvious to us when the National was first formed that their future would not be a league of 6 teams. We knew that they were going to be taking steps to grow that number, and we knew that we would be considered as one of the teams that might be among their number when the conference had grown to its desired size. We were respectful of the need of those institutions that were the founding members of the National Hockey Conference to have time to come together and continue their work. They were pushed into the limelight a bit, even though the conversations have been going on some time. And they needed room to come together to think, to create a process, which they did in the middle of the summer, a rational, fact-based process that would be based on the core principles of the new conference, and then gather information from potential members that they could use, hold up against their core principles, and determine whether or not there was a good fit. A couple of weeks ago, we were asked to provide information on a template that ranged from our values and commitments and the character of the university to our attendance and commitment to hockey and our league, our history of competitive success. And then this week we got the call with an invitation. As you might imagine, there were many conversations, inquiries about the process, and at the same time, with the uncertainty that with which we were living, we tried to work with the WCHA as the WCHA was taking its next steps, because our commitment and the commitment of the members of the National truly is to college hockey as a whole. I have to look after the well-being of my institution, but we care about the future of college hockey. So at no point in the process did we pull back from the WCHA and not bother to participate actively. And this morning, as I may have mentioned, I talked to Commissioner McLeod, and we continue to be supportive and will for the remaining 2 years to the future of the WCHA. And I have to express appreciation to the local press for giving us a period of quiet in which to conduct those very sensitive conversations. We never stopped working. We were working with a focus on our future throughout the last, depending on how you count, 4 to 6 months. And the respect of the confidences that were necessary during that period, I'm grateful for having had the room to have those conversations in confidence. So that's a window on the complicated and lengthy and involved conversations that we had in the midst of uncertainty, always committed to our core principles, always committed to the well-being of our student athletes. Thank you.
This is for Bob. Bob, just talk about the difference in competition, because obviously with the schools that are involved in this new conference, it's a good group of some of the top teams in the country, and you've had that with the WCHA, but this seems like it's even another step. You just talked about the competition level.
This question is for Coach Bob Motzko. Talk about the difference in the competition level and the fact that going into the national you'll be competing against some of the top teams in the country.
I think you could have waited and got me at the locker room with this. First, I mean, we did talk to our players. This is 2 years away, and I'm going to put my coach hat on now. So every decision we're making right now is to get ready for this season, and no decision affects our current hockey team. So we're really geared into getting ready, preparing ourselves for this season right now, and every season how tough it is. And I think you're going to get this from every coach. The WCHA is awful tough, and we've got some great rivalries, and a rivalry is only determined by you're able to beat each other. So we have a lot of rivalries in our league, and that's just going to continue. I use the word "but" twice to try to ask me the question. There are no buts. It's going to continue to be one competitive hockey league that we go into with some great hockey programs. That's sport. That's what it's about. And I think if you want to accept a Division I scholarship and you want to pay money to get in a building, you want that challenge. And I think it's just going to be a continuation. We have that now, and we're going to continue that in the future. All right?
Nick, it's all you.
I guess I'll keep going. This is for Brian. Brian, just again, kind of following up with what I asked Dr. Potter. Just talk about some of the conversations that took place among the other members of this conference to get to this decision, and how did you get in contact with St. Cloud State? I mean, and maybe some of the ways that people aren't aware of, I guess, at this point.
This is directed to Brian Faison. The question has to do with the conversations that led up to this and how the decision-making process went.
Dr. Potter really, I think, caught the essence of the process, frankly. Clearly, at the start of this process for us when we formed the conference, the ultimate size of the conference was not finite, and we knew that at some point in time we would be considering adding additional teams. Lots of factors would play in that decision, but clearly the core principles were going to be critical. And ultimately, it's what's the commitment to the highest level of competition in hockey that really drives things. As the president mentioned, it was a very involved process from our standpoint in terms of what we were asking from the schools in terms of information, everything from institutional profile, academic profile, lots of particular questions about program, staffing size, budgets, success, ticket sales, types of ticket sales, those kinds of things all factored into it. So it was. I would say it was a very deliberative process. We tried to be as expeditious with that process as we could be, and frankly, try to keep it as quiet and as confidential as we could, because you never know where that's ultimately going to play out, and you don't want to hurt a particular institution one way or the other. So again, I think Dr. Potter really caught the essence of the process for us. I don't know that there was any super secret way that was employed to communicate. I think it was fairly direct when it was necessary and appropriate to have direct conversation. We did use our consulting group, the Goldwater Group, as our primary point of contact through the process, and they've served us well.
Just as a follow-up, Brian, as long as you're
Okay.
up there, the conference at this point is at eight members. Do you see that as the optimum number? Do you see it, growing beyond that? Just kind of address that.
The question is, the conference is at 8 members. Do you see that as being the optimum or growing beyond that?
Yes and no. I don't think there's a set number in our mind. 8 works very well in the sense that it's a perfect round robin schedule right now, so everybody's on everybody's rink. We think that's important from a conference postseason perspective. 8 works well in terms of how you structure that. But at the same time, that doesn't preclude us from looking at 9, and if it's the right team that's out there for number 9, we definitely would look at that. So I guess the answer is, on the one hand, we're very pleased with where we're at. We could have done it with 7, but 8 seemed to be a much better number in terms of playoffs and the conference schedule itself. If we go to 9,